Hi, welcome back to Behind the Vision, where we talk about behind the scene of Satovision Agency. And today we are with Gali, our content creator from the Media Performance Department. Welcome, Gali. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me. Hi, hello everyone. My name is Gali, and as GM said, I am the content creator.
And can you tell us what did you do before you joined Satovision? Where did you already create something? Or did you make a school of art, of a graphic design school, something like that?
Okay, so I found this very interesting, the story, at least for me, because I went to college for English literature, which is, I would say, not very related to what I'm doing now. So it was around like the second year of my college when I joined a lot of organizations. I joined a lot of committees, and I really liked something related to video editing and graphic designing since high school, but I never really actually do it for anything really. I just mostly do it for fun. One of the first organizations I joined, it was the division of public relations. So we handle the official account Instagram of my majors. So my major English literature, which so the account Instagram provide news and events for all of the English literature students. So we give infos about anything happenings with our departments and all. Until one day, one of my senior texted me saying, "Gali, can you design for this Instagram post?" So at that time, I had never opened Photoshop or never had used graphic design in my life. Never had used graphic design app in my life.
So how did you learn something like that?
So my senior texted me, "Gali, can you design this for the Instagram post?" So I was hesitated at first. I was hesitant and reluctant. So I don't really know how to use this, blah 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 blah, until my senior reassured me. Just open the Photoshop. You can find inspirations anywhere. You can find resources anywhere from Google. Just type anything you need to find, and then space, and then PNG, and then you just kind of download the assets and then combine it all in Photoshop. And from that one task, I created this Instagram post, which I really proud of, and it turned out pretty well. And it is used and it is posted, and that's where I would say my sparks really appears, and where's my interest and my realization. Oh, I think maybe I want to get into this more. So I just thought, I like this.
Yeah. So, do you think it's really important for a creative person to like what they have to do? Or do you think that, because most of the time you work on requests, so people ask you to create something specific. So do you think that you really have to like what you create, or do you think that you can work for absolutely everyone?
I feel like you have to like what you do, because when you like what you do, you will pour your heart and soul into it. Don't you think? I feel like when you really actually like what you do, you will actually gives your 110%. Yeah, and you.
Interesting.
I feel like you will go beyond instead of just go what you told to do.
And how do you react when a client, or let's say your N+1, your superior, say that you have to revise your job because they don't like it, or maybe there is something that you have to change? So if you're emotionally involved in your job, how do you find it? Do you find it difficult? Or?
Oh, I remember when I got my first revisions from doing the task, when creating a post to create the Instagram post at that time. So I created this Instagram post, and I remember it was the background color is mostly pink, and then I have this some elements which is light blue, and I thought it was pretty cool to me. I thought it was have some nice combinations of color to it. But then my senior said, this is too contrasty. This is too striking. This won't fit to the overall Instagram images. And then at first I took it as like, what was he thinking? This looks good. My creation was good. Of course, I was a naive and like young teenagers back then. But when I actually revise it, when I actually do it, but mostly at first out of because it was my senior told me to revise it, so I will revise it instead of even though it's not what I really want to be my design to be, but I just did it anyway, and then I was like, and I see it like, oh, he's right. This works better. This looks cooler. So when you're working like in a creative process, you only see it with your own eye. So I feel like inputs and feedback is always needed, because when you sit with only your own eye, you become fixated to it. You have bias to it, and like, oh, I'm doing this because I like doing this. I choose to go to like this because I like to go over this direction because I like it. But then sometimes external inputs is really needed to like knock you on the head to say like, maybe you should reflect it. Maybe you should think it twice. Are you sure? So yeah, that's what I'm applying up to right now. So I'm always open to feedback, but I always like try to mediate it and like find the middle ground. I will take their feedbacks, but mostly when I feel like, but also when I feel like my creative process is also worth it to go as an output, I feel like maybe we can mediate it. Maybe we can find a middle ground before your project to incorporate your feedback and my direction, so we can have both in my design. So that's how I see it.
And how do you find the inspiration for your creative? Do you use a tool specifically for that? Like nowadays, I know that people use a lot ChatGPT and the AI tool to find inspiration. And personally, I think that's a mistake to start with that, because you don't let your own creativity speak, and you have to rely on a tool. I mean, it's good to use technology, of course, but how do you find the inspiration?
Currently, I'm only doing like videos and photo stuff, so I only find my inspirations just on Instagram, scrolling endless reels, or TikTok, scrolling endless reels, or mostly my right-hand man is just Pinterest. I scroll Pinterest every time I create designs, but there has come times when I use AI to find inspirations in the past. When I created media plan, when I created content ideas for Instagram. But I think AI could never come up with something new. They can only come up with something similar.
Yeah, that's actually, I agree with you. The thing is also, you need to understand, one of the key points in marketing communication is to understand your audience. And your audience is very diverse. I mean, you cannot please everyone, of course. And the AI, the way people train the AI is to answer the vast majority, like a broad audience.
Yeah.
It's never too specific for one audience.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree with you. It can also diminish your ability to find creative idea.
AI needs to be trained, but otherwise, it'll just give you like basic broad stuff. So I mostly just end up finding anywhere else but AI.
So you don't think that AI will one day replace creative person? Because many people say that, especially in the communication and the agency world, people say that, okay, you can instead of having graphic designer, you can use Midjourney or you can use ChatGPT and everything. But I totally agree with you. I think they cannot create something new. And my next question will be that the algorithm of Instagram and TikTok in particular, they like similar things. I mean, people copy other people doing the same things again and again and again. And now, I don't know the exact number, but I think that more than maybe 40% of the content that you can find on Instagram is based on AI generated content. So how do you think we can do something more creative, and how do you think we can make ourselves different from these random people creating almost perfect design sometimes with AI?
I feel like you will always can be stands out when you're different, when you're totally different amount of see of the same things. When there's a lot of AI things out there, yeah, they would be just the exact same thing, the exact copy of one another. Maybe even if it's perfect design, perfect anything, but it's just AI. It'll be get replicated. It'll be the same thing of what already there. But when you actually creative and totally come up with something new, you will stand out among the sea of the same things, the sea of AI. Don't you think?
Well, of course, I agree. We use AI a lot. I think AI is interesting for the organization part and time management and everything. Can save a lot of time. And I remember in the last episode, Jeremy talked about you as a someone efficient in doing his job. How do you manage your daily task? And do you have a personal and professional organization, or do you do the same things? Or you have a calendar for everything, and you list all the tasks by one, and you go from one to another? How do you manage your daily task?
So I usually did it with my department, and we did it weekly. So in the first days of the week, on Monday, we will have a meeting and evaluation of what we already did the week before, and we discuss about things that we are going to do. So in my case, I do a lot of things that will take up days to finish it. So I at least usually over the 5 days of the work week, I allocate the amount of time that it'll take to create this task. So for example, to do the task, for example, the first 2 days will be creating the tasks, and then the next days we'll be creating this task, and then the next day we'll creating the other task. So maybe it would be better if you do it daily, I think. So for example, my task for this week is to create the Instagram post of this account, which has I like to keep it very simple, because I don't really like to be so overwhelmed by pressure of deadline, and I don't really like to be so structured about it. So I like to be more open-ended.
I see. I have another question based on the organization. So you can work from home and you can work from the office.
Yes.
What do you prefer? And do you think it will affect your productivity and the way you manage tasks?
Yes, definitely.
It can be very difficult when you're at home to manage your own schedule and to not be disturbed by anything happening next to you. So how do you manage that?
I prefer work from office, honestly. Even if sometimes I have a work from home schedule, I would just come to the office, but just at a later time. So this is because in my home, I don't really have a very proper space to do it. So I dare to say I have little less productivity when I'm working from home. So when I'm work from home, I would usually just go out to find some cafes or coffee shop. Good environments really contributes to good working habit, I feel like. So when I go to office, I have proper monitor, big monitor, a way faster PCs than my laptop. So it'll make my work more comfortable and all.
So you didn't have a proper background in graphic design first. You just learned by watching videos and practicing by yourself.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a good way to do it, or do you think there is a better way to do it? If someone wants to start a career in the graphic design, what would be the best advice you can give?
Advice, huh? I would say just do it. That's the best advice for me. Sometimes we just lack a stage, a proper time, proper stage is the right word for me. Because sometimes you just have you have the idea, you have the knowledge, you have the wants, the needs, maybe not the needs, the wants, but sometimes you reluctant to do it. You just reluctant to do it for some reason. But when you're actually faced in the situation when you have to do it, and then you already have the wants and the kind of like the gist of what you need to do, you just can't do it. So, and then and I feel like this is this is one of interesting things where I found when I'm learning things. I don't really learn structurally. So, for example, I want to learn about how to use Adobe Photoshop. I would never spend like 5 hours going out on YouTube and type introduction to Adobe Photoshop. I would never watch that.
Really?
Yep.
How do you do then?
I just open Adobe Photoshop
and you try.
And try immediately. And then when you actually obstacles with some task and then you cannot really find it, and then by then I will actually go to YouTube and like type the specific things, not the general things like introduction to Photoshop, but Adobe Photoshop, but like where is the pen tool located, for example? How do you create a curve with this pen tool, for example, like that?
Okay, thank you, Gali. I have another question actually based on the. Do you think it's difficult to? Do you think you need to follow the trends in terms of graphic design, or do you think that you just have to find your own style?
Apart from the things I've said before about standing out, I feel like sometimes you still need to, like
let's say in a professional, when you want to apply for a job, do you think it's better to show your own personality, or do you think it's better to show some random stuff that? Well, actually, I give already the answer. Do you think it's better to show like a huge amount of creation, or do you think it's better to only show and display the one that you're proud of and the one that express your own personality?
I think should be a little bit of both.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you show a lot of things that you've done to show that you have a variety and you have flexibility to do things, which is a good thing, I think, to me. And then you showed one thing that you're really most proud of to show your best skills, best personality, best traits. I think it should be a combination of both. So like, yeah, that's the best way to include in your, let's say, portfolio, I think.
Thank you very much, Gali. It was really interesting.
Thank you.
If I make a short summary of what we said today, let's say you can start a career in graphic design whenever you want. The only thing you have to do, as Gali says, is to practice and to start doing something, create your own design, find your own personality, also find the way. If I may add something, as an agency owner, when we recruit someone in graphic design, we are very careful about why people try to create something. If people can explain what they did and why they did it in this specific way, that's already a good point. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And sampai jumpa.
Sampai jumpa.